What's going on, guys? Magdallan here. I thought it would be fun to drop in and just talk a little bit about the health of the game, the state of the league now that we're, about halfway through the second week and stuff has started to settle and we kind of know what things are going to look like and how GGG is going to address the league going forward. We've got a good picture of what the next month or so is going to look like before the natural waning of the league is going to start taking place, as it does about halfway through most of the time. And so I thought we'd look at a few different things and just talk about a couple ideas that I have about each of them, and that's about it. So let's get into it here. The first thing is the Steam charts. And compared to last week, I think it looks a lot better. So we peaked on the first day at about 127,000 players. And then we did go down quite a bit, but it's unlike last week where it just kind of fell off really hard. We've only dropped to about, 75,000 or so each day, but it's stable, and it's even gone up a couple times over the course of the week. And that's about 60%, give or take, of the highest value for the day the league came out. And I think that's pretty good. And if that continues, one way to look at that is it's not a perfect way to look at it, but you could say, 6 out of 10 people that tried it thought it was good enough to keep playing. And people ask me, given that I've made quite a few videos being critical of the marketing practices that GGG do and saying to wait on buying microtransactions, stuff like that, they ask, what about this league? Is it worth it to buy these, to buy a microtransaction? And I think so. I think this is a pretty good indication that there's enough content in the game that a lot of the people that tried it are continuing to play. And of course that's in conjunction with the other stuff that we're going to talk about here. And even though GGG is moving away from it, I still think it's worthwhile to take a look real quick at the Reddit because, and sorry for the flashbang there. The Reddit, I think, is a good indication of the way people are feeling. And, you've got some Dead Reckoning stuff. And just a little bit of memeing about the POE situation that's going on, the new functionality that is coming out with that. There's quite a bit that's being said about that, but that's not really the focus of this video. You got some NeverSync stuff, cool item, some stuff about a guy in standard leveling up, and none of this is toxic, really. None of it is, none of it seems bad. It seems like people are just kind of hanging out, and I think that's, again, an indication that there's just not a lot to really complain about. And then there's this, the Keurig Vault Pass having stuff added to it. You could read that as being an indication that sales were not as good on that. And honestly, just fine. The Vault Pass is stupid. It's dumb. Buying it is dumb. And they should just stop doing it. But the stuff that they're adding to the league, I think, is really cool. And I don't know if I've said it in a video before, but I've always thought that it would be cool if they added all kinds of stuff throughout the course of the league, even new bosses, new items, stuff that would keep the people who, blast for 3 weeks, 4 weeks at the beginning and then take off. If they added stuff later in the league that brought those guys back, I think that would be great for the health of the game. And while this stuff isn't that, I think it's a good indication that they're taking the position that, because some people are saying that, well, what does this mean? It wasn't finished when it came out. And fine, I suppose that's one way you could view this, but I would rather they just keep working on stuff and release it as they finish it if they couldn't get everything they wanted into the league, as opposed to them just cutting it off, giving us a couple numeric balance patch type things, and then we're just dead in the water till the next league. I think it's a great idea that they're coming in and actually adding in some stuff that's increasing the intrigue for the mechanic, so on and so forth. So again, I think this is an indication that the game is in a healthier spot. And I have to say, in the comments, I'm not going to scroll through and read everything here, but there are a lot of people saying stuff essentially to the tune of, this might be the best league in the past year, this might be the best league ever, so on and so forth. And I certainly wasn't seeing a lot of that in 3.19, and not very much of it in 3.18, though it did turn out that Sentinel was a banger. But nonetheless, and then I guess the last thing I want to mention here is I was skeptical about the live update thread that they were going to do and sort of move away from the Reddit. And mostly that's because I just didn't see any reason for them to make a public statement to that effect. They could have just done this without intentionally moving away from the Reddit, and it seemed like just a weird move to me. And I also thought that the forum system being, you know, sort of more out of date even than for me, because when I go to Reddit, it does kind of feel like a ye olden text format, and I thought, oh well, with the forum it's just going to be even worse, and the ability to communicate back with GGG is going to be even worse than it is on Reddit. And I have to say, I think I was wrong on that, because they really have done a good job of just detailing all the stuff that they're doing. It's been pretty comprehensive. It's made sense. And it turned out that this actually worked pretty well. And, I mean, you do have people commenting a little bit, but it has allowed GGG to just make changes and put stuff out and not sort of constantly be faced with the meat grinder of the Reddit posting in the same way that they were in the past. So I guess this has been a success in a certain sense, though of course you could make the criticism that distancing themselves from Reddit is, in a, you know, sort of covering their ears to the one of the loudest areas where they get criticism, which often people's, you know, just kind of shit on Reddit. My view on it is that regardless of whether it's toxic or not, there is a lot of well thought out and valid criticism that gets made on that platform, and I am still worried that a lot of that criticism is now going to get way less attention than it would have otherwise. But speaking just about this live update format alone, it actually was much more effective than I thought it was going to be, and I actually hope they continue doing this going forward. And I even like that they've kind of taken the teaser approach from the marketing stuff before the league and applied it to the in-game stuff and the patch stuff, so to speak, in the league. I think that's a, you know, in the marketing side of it, I'm not a big fan, but in this case, it seems like a fairly positive thing. And so, yeah, I have to say, if you take all of that together, you've got, you know, decent, I think, player retention numbers. You've got the subreddit essentially just kind of hanging out and memeing about whatever they want, and, you know, not a whole lot of negativity going on. You have changes coming to the league after it launches that are meaningful, interesting, and that make the league mechanic more enticing to someone like me, who is normally just a straight up map farmer. May be able to hear the dog barking in the background, I'm not sure. And then finally, if you add on to all of that, the success of this live update thing and their increased clarity with what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, keeping us sort of informed, and, you know, we know that they're in there doing stuff. I think all of that indicates that the league's in a really good spot. And I guess that's about all I have to say for now. I will be back hopefully tomorrow with a video about my current farming strat. I've been messing around with some Breach and a little bit of Abyss, and I'm kind of still fiddling around with it, but I'm going to talk about the farming strategy that I've been using to make currency and to have a good time. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And if you found any of this interesting, please do hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. I appreciate you.